Hello, everyone.
All right. Hey, Piper. Nice to have you here in the commentary booth.
All right, I apologize for the break in transmission. It's good to be here once again. All
All
right,
right. And the
without
first
wasting.
move,
Okay,
Fred had Malloi blank, and I believe he missed bingos like Marriott in that. Sorry, Malot rather, Maillot, and he opts for mole rather.
okay, interesting. So Mo was committed from Fred, and I believe he has the first blank of the game.
Yeah, it's back to Abdulmumin Jimoh, the highest rated player in this field, a really strong Nigerian Scrabble player. We also saw him do really well in the World Championships a few weeks ago.
Okay, so I
Same
believe
going for Gamp.
Gamp, yeah, leaving PHN, I believe.
It's back to Fred now with Bainiy blank. I'm sure he's looking to play to maybe through the G in GAM for maybe a bingo there or the floating L's, but he has a 104 bingo play on this turn if you could spot it, and that would be Biryani,
Wow,
Biryani. That would be a triple, sorry, a double double hooking Molly for 104.
that would score massively. I mean, hooking Y to M for Molly and playing Biryani for 104 on the double double spot is definitely his top choice here. But if in case he doesn't see that, playing the same word just by the side, hooking A to MOLL instead would score 79. I believe other bingos he could play on this turn would be Brainingly through the L of mole. Now, what do you think is going to do here, Excel?
Yeah, we can see he has already played BAY, perhaps missing some of those bingos and just trying to go for as much points as he can see on this turn. But what a miss that was 104 against the highest rated player in this tournament, have been a really nice start. Well, it's back to Jimo now with Hontype. And I think this is a really interesting set of tiles to have. Usually, when I have this, I'm always thinking of maybe like words ending with phone or starting with phone, or maybe type TYPE. And we can see is running through those that same train of thoughts. You can also see him arrange HYP because there are a lot of words that also start with the HYP
Yeah,
too. So it's
this
interesting to see
looks
what he
very,
would go with on this turn.
yeah, it looks very synergic, but I do not see any bingo he could play on this turn. But I believe he could cash in and play TOPHE. That is hooking the E to the AG and playing to the triple world score, I believe, for 46 points, leaving NY.
Yes, indeed, that would be a really nice spot there. 46 points, and pushing him back into the lead and leaving NY. And if you know me, Y is one of my favorite tiles to also have because it's doubles as a consonant sometimes and a vowel sometimes. So it's really nice to keep that Y later on. Maybe hooking YAG. I believe that is a word.
YAG, yeah, definitely. Okay, so we might be seeing phony come down instead. Okay, I believe he has committed phony instead for 36 points, leaving ET. Wow. All right, and it's back to Fred with I believe we should be seeing a bingo here. He has a rack of DEIVIN blank. Now, what do you think he should play here, Excel?
Yeah, first, it's worth noting that phony was played in the last turn, but it wasn't a phony. Perhaps any Scrabblers in the chat would get that joke. All right, so it's back to Fred here with DIIVIN. Personally, I really can't see a lot of options in this turn. Maybe I'm missing a bingo to the L, perhaps.
Through the P of phony, he could play vilipend. That is, in fact, his only playable bingo for this turn.
Wow, that would
Vilipend,
be a really nice find.
yeah, it's a
I
nice
can't
find.
say I've heard of that word before. Apologies for my chicken scratch there, but yeah, Villipen would fit in that nice little spot there for 78 points, but we can see he's going for something different.
Okay, I think he's playing Vide for 32 points instead. All right, I believe this is the second miss from Fred. But I mean, it still has the high hand blank combo, so he should or he would might be able to bingo in the following turn. And I see he has picked the QU combo, so we might be expecting a blow from him.
Yes, indeed. It's back to Jimoh now with FANNERT. I'm sure if I were in his shoes, I would be really fixated on that eye, thinking there could be a bingo there, but there are no bingos available for him on this turn. And we see him rightfully go for fan leaving TERN.
Okay, Fan is in fact a top move, leaving a solid lead and scoring 28 points. All right, immediately
All
we see
right, we're
Quine coming
seeing
down. Fred,
yes. A really solid score. They're still leaving the blank but scoring really, really well.
definitely. Quine scores 49 points and leaving a very good lead.
But I'm curious, there is or there was an option available for him playing QUIFF for 72. The only downside is it would be using up his blank in that. Do you think Quiff was something worth considering?
I mean, it was able to play, I think, almost 50 points on this turn while still leaving his blank. I mean, it could definitely still cash in with a bingo next turn. That would definitely expand a score in two turns along the line. So I think in playing Quine is not.
All right, well said. Klein scoring 49 points, I believe, still retaining the blank seemed like a good option there. And Abdulmumin Jimoh now has a rack that left to me. I would probably spend a good 10 minutes racking and shuffling, looking for a bingo on this turn. But even with, I think this set of tiles are the most probable tiles. You have Noter as a bingo option or Tarine, but with the way the board is, there are no bingos available for him on this turn, even with the U floating, the L, even the PO and all that. There are no bingos whatsoever um, in this turn. So, what would he be doing here? A inexperienced player like myself would probably just plunk down the O somewhere, perhaps playing video, um, hooking HO, leaving Retina, which is a stem that a lot of players like to have. And it could pay off, and it might not. Who knows? So I'm curious to see what Jimo would do with this set of tiles here. Would he be looking to play longer with options like Hoha, HOER? He could extend this further, scoring 23 points, but leaving a very dangerous opening here for Hoaz. So we'll see him just plunk down the O, leaving the retina leave that a lot of Scrabble players like to have. And it's back to Fred with WAILTS blank. Would we be seeing him eventually bingoing on this turn? Right now, he has a sneaky bingo available of Walliest through the L. Oh, for a moment there, I thought he had seen that move. Let me see if I could show the audience. WALLIEST fits here for um 85 solid points. And we can see as arranged wheel in that same spot. Apologies for my doodling there. I know it's needs a lot of working on, and I'm sure I'll definitely get the hang of this in no time. All right, so Warriors would be an interesting or one of just the top move in this turn. But we see him missing that bingo, going for wheel instead. And to the U in Quine, he had lawsuits also available in that turn. But missing those bingos, we see him Bill, which still scores pretty well on this turn. And now it's back to Jimo. We saw him fish in the last turn with just plunking down the O, leaving the retina leave, and he picked an X with that. Um, Personally, I can't see any bingos for him on this turn. So would he be fishing off that X once more, leaving the retina stem or leaf, which can be very, very strong. Right now, the X plays for 17 points, and as you can see, that's exactly what he has done. He's staying patient, leaving the best house possible that he can have.
He could have played Walliest and it's not. But fortunately, I think he's eventually playing a bingo of 10 years. Okay, um,
All right, yeah, we saw Tania's come down. Finally, the bingo from Fred after a couple of misses, and it's back to Abdulmumin Jimoh. The fish seems to have helped as inertia is available to play on this turn. Okay, PNI.
Okay, I think I might have missed a turn after wheel from Fred. I What did the Mumin play?
Oh, you just dropped the X, scoring XI, leaving retina.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
And now inertia is available to be played. The only sport right now for is bingo. Inertia in that sport would score 67. I'm sure he has seen the bingo, perhaps not just the sport for it. I'm guessing PNI might, evade him, or perhaps he's not just thinking of that hook right now.
I think he might see it, but maybe he's probably wondering if he has any more options other than that. Wow, interesting. I
Oof.
think he missed that. We are seeing Intrada come
Yeah,
through instead. Wow, what a miss.
yeah, that's a surprising miss there from Abdul Mumin, but still is the scores are Fred's 225, I believe, to Mumin's 144. A bingo was very necessary in that turn for Jimo to still stay in the game. But right now, the difference is about 80 points, and there's still a lot of tiles to be played, and let's see what happens from here.
Okay, we might be seeing Ong come down quickly from Fred, and that has been committed for 30 points, I believe.
Yeah, we're seeing Fred here even after a couple of misses, eventually playing Tanias, and in an interesting turn of events, going into the bag, picking seven tiles. The blank or the last blank is on his tiles here, and I'm sure he's feeling pretty confident, especially with the scores right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think this game did tilt towards Fred, considering he missed about three bingos earlier on and went into the bag and picked the first and the second blank, and is still scoring decently above 100, I believe, margin over Mumin. And I'm still quite serious to see how this game ends. Now with a rack of Zraeeio for Mumin. What are his options here, Excel?
Yeah, I was seeing him arranging notarize, trying to play out as much tiles as he can. Something he could have considered on that turn, which I'm sure he saw, was maybe moves like Zo, E, but thing with that is it gives back way too much to the right hand side after that move. And I'm sure he's trying to gun for the blank. And there are still three S's left and a lot of tiles still in the bag. So notarize, throwing the board wide open, leaving his options as plentiful as possible. So I'm sure he's pretty pleased with that move. All right, it's back to Fred now with WUGVLT. I'm sure he's not so happy seeing VW and G in the same set of tiles, and also with the U. I mean, VU is bad enough already, WU is bad enough already, VW is bad enough already. So, I mean, this is definitely not the best of tiles to have, but we're seeing trying to make as much lemonade from these lemons and playing glue. I'm sure the thinking behind this movie is just to shut down the board as much as he can. Find the VWT is nothing to write them about, but at least is obstructing that E hook, which Jimo could use to, score loads of points.
Definitely. I think in playing glue right now is a defensive move considering the E is left wide open for the triple lane for his opponent to come back at him. And interestingly, with what Mumin is having, it goes for AUE, leaving NIAES.
All right, and without wasting time, VAWT comes just in the nick of time to shed off those clunky consonants. And Fred must be feeling pretty confident considering the fact that Mumin has been unable to score a lot of points in the past couple of moves. And VAWT scores really well, still retaining the blank.
I think it's interesting to note that VAWT is a phony.
Oof. Uh, I know of VAWTE, and I just simply assumed
Yeah.
that VAWT was valid too.
Are
But
we going to
seeing
be
that,
getting it?
the
Okay.
move
Okay. So it was
was
yes.
okay.
Uh, now I opted for VAW instead,
Yeah, I'm
as
sure
it's
you would have
very.
really loved to play the VAWT there because of the triple T's he has. But you could have just opted for TAWT in that same spot.
Yeah, definitely. And interestingly, we see Bingo come down for Momin Erasure. Is this enough
Yeah,
to bring him?
finally, it's surprising to see for someone of Jimo's strength that it's taken perhaps the eighth move or the seventh move before a bingo comes down from him. A master player of his strengths, you always see them starting out with a lot of bingos at the start of the game, but we've seen that it's been a couple of difficult draws for Jimo, and eventually we are seeing Eurasian come down. Although it's worth noting that in that same spot he had inertia a few moves ago, but eventually Eurasian is coming down now.
Yeah, definitely. I think what you draw is does affect what you are able to play. I think aside the miss of inertia, he hasn't really missed much bingo in this turn. Now back to Fred. I think he had triple T's or four T's. TTTTIR blank. So he opted for TIT, and immediately we see Mumin come down quickly. I believe he placed the J on top of the O of eration.
All right, we are seeing the Mumin I know playing fast and playing precise and scoring a boatload of points there. Jukos, I believe, is what is playing there for 63 solid points.
Wow.
Right now, the
This game has
scores are Fred's 317 to Jimo's 322. In the blink of an eye, we are seeing Mumin take the lead in this game.
yeah, I think it's important to know that this with this move of Joko's, it has taken a very interesting turn and putting Mumin forward.
All right, back to Fred. We're seeing REDOTT if he can spot his bingos he would be taking back the lead immediately. Right now, he has grottoed, Grottoed, through the O in Jukos. Let me see if I can try and draw that for the viewers. So Grotto would be a really solid option here because it's shuts down the board as much as possible, and um, since it's actually his highest scoring bingo, scoring 70, and that would take his lead to about 60. So would he be able to spot this move? And if not, he has a couple of other options though. He has retorted down the R in notarize, which is considerably easier to see than grotto. I can say for a fact that anyone who plays grotto against me, I'm definitely going to challenge. So it's not a word I'm quite familiar with. So let's see if it would be able to spot any of those bingos. And even through the S in Jukos, he has dottiest and Dottrels rather available, and even tetrodes. Okay, he has spotted the retorted move, and he would be seeing him take back the lead. Okay, seems to be changing his mind there. I'm curious to see what is considering on this turn. Maybe he has a feeling that is missing something a lot better, and he has the time. There's still 5 minutes, I believe, left on the clock for him, so he could take his time here and just look through the options. Abdulmumin now, with the knowledge that Fred has the blank, I'm sure, yeah, he must be feeling some type of way, knowing that Fred is most likely going to take back the lead after this move. I think for a moment we saw Fred arrange grottoed, but unsure and just trying to play it as safe as possible, is back to deciding to play retorted. Okay, I think we the tiles on Jimoh's rack are a bit skewed, but I believe he has Freeboe, and after the last move of retorted, there are three tiles left in the bag, and could there be any scheming or fishes that Abdulmumin could make here to get back into this game? Right now, he's trailing by exactly 60 points. I'm unsure if Fred has committed this move. I think he's trying to be careful, or maybe the move was played and Jimo held that turn. So maybe we'll be seeing a challenge here, but we can confirm that provided that blank is the letter E, then this move is valid. All right. Fred is recording his calls and going into the bag. So I believe the move wasn't challenged, and it's back to Jimo now, trying to decide what he can do on this turn. Three tiles left on the bag, and he has Freeboe. At this point, um, I can't say there are a lot of options right now for Abdul Mumin. Maybe just playing OB, next to retorted. Let me see if I can show the viewers that move. OB here is something that maybe is worth considering, given the fact that you're opening up a spot here for a seven-letter bingo. But uh I mean, you're not going to make that move, and Fred is just going to leave it on the board without, trying to obstruct that spot. So I think it's a really, really difficult turn for Abdulmumin right now, and maybe is thinking of beef. We can see him arranged beef on this turn, but with three tiles left in the bag, beef is going to exhaust all the tiles, and that just makes sure that Abdul Mumin can come back with a bingo to play in the next turn. So the best thing would be to maybe play two tiles, then leaving one tile in the bag, and that way Fred would have slightly incomplete information on what Abdul Mumin has after he tracks the tile. So you can see him set aside BE. I think maybe it's the same idea. Oh, sorry. Maybe it's the same idea playing BE here, considering the fact that there's the OB hook on this lane. So I'm sure he's looking towards that side of the board, and he knows for sure that if there's any point or any um, way coming back into this game, it has to be opening up something along that lane. And we can see him committing that move, leaving F-E-R-O-E. And it's back to Fred now with DISCEIE. We apologize for some breaking transmission there. My co-commentator is having slight issues, and I'm sure we'll have that fixed as possible. So thank you so much for those who are still tuning in. And I'm sure before the start of the next game, we would have these issues resorted. So Fred has DIESCEI. I'm sure Jima would have loved to have that S or a couple of other tiles, but we can see the last S in this game is on Fred's rack. Right now, um, Fred could easily ignore the opening that Abdulmin made in the last turn. If it tracks the tiles correctly, it's going to see that there's DEEFKORR on scene, and as bingo friendly might look, I guess maybe with the ED combination, there isn't much for Fred to worry about on this turn, and he has a 37 points play available for him if he scores ICED at the top, at the bottom left corner of the board right here for 37 points. Maybe this is even enough to outrun any bingo that comes down eventually at the right hand side of the board. So would Fred be desperate enough to want to block that opening that Mumin made in the last turn, or is just simply going to ignore it and go for his highest point here? All right, we are saying he's taking no chances and is going for dice. Yeah, I guess that is pretty understandable. Uh, uh, Mumin, you can be pretty sure that if there is a bingo available on, considering the tiles left, then he's most likely going to see it. And we're seeing that Fred here doesn't want to take any chance and wants to block off that spot entirely since he's already leading, and sacrificing this points won't do that much harm. Although it's worth mentioning though that in a 30 round tournament, every score you can get matters. So even if you're leading and you're trying to squeeze out as much points as you can from that game, it could pay off eventually, as cumulative matters a lot when you're looking at the standings. But I guess it's a lot better than having an out bingo played and then you and totally lose the game. So dice comes down for 10 points, and Mumin now with Rorfeke. Okay, we're seeing him play Reek. But Keith was available also in that same spot, but that would give back way too much to the opponent. And we are seeing a very nice finish for Fred here with this cage. I think that was okay. That doesn't empty the bag. The that doesn't end the game because there's still an E left. So this cage was actually a nice find regardless. And Froze was played by Abdulmumin there. And we're definitely going to see Fred end this game playing his E somewhere. Okay, ZE was played as the last move in this game, scoring 11 points. Interesting to see Abdulmumin take this loss here on stream, as he's arguably the strongest player in this tournament, as is the highest rated amongst this field. But it's Scrabble, anything can happen, and when the tiles come or if they don't come, there's really not a lot of things you can do about it. The final scores here is Fred's 427 to Jimoh's 386. Make sure you stick around, as round three would be on your screen very soon.